need to just get up, take a deep breath, keep it together, 'cause it's a beautiful day. Sun on my face, feeling okay. Don't let it get away, it's a beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, IPPR report addresses PSEMAS, Nampol converges on Irongo, Fest Media Radio Jingle winners emphasize on importance of community radio, Roda takes 100,000 Namibian dollar winning back to Keetmanshoop, and Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and Weather. Now for the news in detail. The Institute for Public Policy Research, IPPR, in its 12th issue report has questioned the administration contract of the Government Medical Aid Scheme, PSEMAS, which is jointly administered by MedHealth, Namibia administrators, and NamHealth, of which both are affiliated to the ruling party. The Institute questions the credibility after the procurement process for a new administrator was cancelled due to unresponsiveness. Selma Tapopi has more.
The Institute in its recent report has raised the concern that ruling party-headed state organs such as the Ministry of Finance are handling contracts to ruling party-owned commercial entities, which raises threats of conflict of interest and political capture of state resources by ruling party-affiliated persons and entities. This is in view of 6 companies that submitted bids for the PSEMAS administration contract between 4 June 2020 and 23 September 2020, of which 2 of them have direct links to the ruling party.
Potentially $300 million contract over the contract period. And I mean, that ruling party entities through various sort of commercial entities are positioning themselves to benefit from this particular contract is and should actually be concerning. In the process, the credibility, fairness and competitiveness of procurement and decision-making processes are undermined, needlessly clouded by suspicions of corruption. I think this is where we are in Namibia at this point in time, given our fiscal situation. We have to be concerned about the levels of political capture of strategic state resources. Both of these entities, Kalahari Holdings and Zebra Holdings, and MedHealth, Namibia Administrators, and NamHealth. NamHealth and MedHealth, if you go onto the Ministry of Finance's website, you will see that NamHealth and MedHealth are jointly administering this PSEMAS. So both Kalahari Holdings and Zebra Holdings are already benefiting and have been benefiting from this contract and the extensions that this contract has been subjected to over the last few years. There have now been 6 extensions of this contract, and it's unclear when this issue will be resolved. This is why we're spotlighting and continue to spotlight PSEMAS because of this. Because these ruling party associated entities, ruling party commercial interests are circling around the specific contract, and this needs to be kept in focus.
The Institute has further called out the slow reform of the government medical aid scheme within the Ministry of Finance, which was initiated in 2007 as the result of inefficiencies at the scheme. The report further looks into a COVID-19 procurement within the Defence Ministry, which had raised questions.
So the urgency to address the issues around the public service employees medical aid scheme, these issues are urgent, but we don't see the same urgency in actually dealing with these issues. I mean, former Finance Minister Schletwein repeatedly every year in his budget statement talked about how they were going to reform PSEMAS, but when you spoke to people in finance behind the scenes, people were saying, it doesn't seem to be much happening. And I mean, this is where, if the reform, if reforms were already put on the table, or the processes already were sort of seen back in 2007, 2008, when these the first reform steering committee was formed, we're almost a decade and a half later, and still we're only talking about reforming PSEMAS.
The Institute stresses that state capture of public resources should be avoided as it creates distrust, noting that a ruling party affiliated official within ministries should not be involved in the decision-making process of awarding a contract to a ruling party-owned entity.
With a noticeable rise in crimes reported in the Erongo region in recent months, regional commanders of Nampol from regions that border Erongo converged in IPPR to strengthen cooperations in curbing crimes that are affecting communities along the border. Joseph Shifeni has more on this.
The regional commanders of Oshoto-Njupa and Khomas joined their Erongo counterpart in Karibib at a meeting led by Major General Joseph Shikongo to engage the community and identify criminal hotspots while coming up with joint operation measures. Like in other regions, the community's main concern was stock theft and poaching, but they also complained of the lack of vehicles and firearms for officers on duty, not getting feedback from investigating officers on cases reported, and their late arrival when called upon by members of the public to attend to a crime scene.
We have areas of Oshimbingwe, which is really said to be a serious problem in Okanja, and obviously some other areas. So we are going to deal with that. Machete is one of the areas in the Kombahe there. So we are going to come up with strategies how to address that situation. And obviously, as I indicated, the promise that it's not only a question of talking, but it's a question of implementing our programs. We realize that for us, the way to go is to conduct joint operations. Joint operations between the regions or among the regions. Like these regions, the individual commanders, they will come together and they will decide on when, but it must be as soon as possible. They will decide on the way forward to ensure that those areas, if you talk of Khomas Auckland, it comes to Erongo. If you are talking about Windhoek, one other police station, Katutula, it goes up to NSCS, it goes up to Oshoto-Njupa. That means those are the regions that are close to each other. That's why we all the station commanders and even the commanders of CID to come and attend to this briefing so that they are known by the community, and also make sure that at the end of the day we have got some proactive measures that we put in place.
One resident complained that many youth in the town have bought themselves vehicles that are enhanced with speakers and boosters that make excessive noise pollution, keeping many up at night. Shikongo said officers should issue fines to individuals responsible and confiscate the boosters as stipulated in the law. The same resident also offered land to a police station. The Erongo Regional Commander said crime is not on the rise in his jurisdiction and that it remains under control.
Housebreaking specifically in general is not really a problem with our region. Our major problem in the region when it comes to criminal activities, one is domestic violence. These are crimes that are happening within the household. It's very difficult to go and prevent crime in people's houses. And then these are always supported by the abuse of alcohol and drugs. And we have also noticed an increase on fraud cases, mainly people who are not really careful with this, there's new technology. You call a person, I'm selling what, and at the end, the payment will not come and you have already handed over your property. So these are the type of things that are now new in our crime risks. So it's very difficult. What we always try to encourage the people to do is never conduct business with a person you don't know. That is number one. And more especially if you are doing it through this social media platform, it is very, 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 very dangerous, because this person will just be after you when he wants your items. Immediately you surrender your items, you will disappear in thin air.
Elumbu's Commerce counterpart Ismail Basson said the meeting was significant as all regions involved are able to share best practices on ways to curb criminal activities with the help of the community.
We want to restore that confidence in the police, and the only way that you can do it as a police as an organization is probably for people like the general himself, the regional commanders, all to be involved in making sure that we set a good example as to what we expect, because we need to lead by example, and that is the example that now that the station commander, the unit commander, everybody should follow in restoring the little credibility that is left in the police. So in building more bridges, working with the public in all forms, calling on the public to join community forums, become the first, and crime at the end of the day is not a police business alone. It is a combined effort where all of us should hold hands and make sure we close the gap between the police and the public. If you don't do that, at the end of the day, definitely the police will be, finger will be pointing at the police. So it is our task to come out and bring people on board.
The regions that have pledged to cooperate in addressing crimes along the borders with joint operations will be expected to give feedback to the communities after 3 months of progress made. The members of the public were also encouraged to join the reserve force of Nampol, and many expressed interest in the request to contribute towards the fight against crime.
In celebration of the recent World Press Freedom Day celebrations, Fest Media facilitated a radio jingle competition based on this year's theme, Information as a Public Good. Today on One spoke to the winners of the competition who recently arrived in Windhoek from Zimbabwe, Benin and Rundu. This report from Joseph Ilonga.
Community radios are instrumental in the promotion of development at a community level, according to one of the Fest Media radio jingle winners, Hafeni Namwira, who hails from Rundu. His community does not have a community radio station, and this has created difficulties for the residents of Rundu with regards to accessing information by the community for the community.
My community does not have a community radio station. Now, this is something that bothers me because at the end of the day, we don't have a platform where we can create content and information that we can disseminate to the people around us to make sure that we are all in one accord, to understand each other. Because sometimes it's very, very beautiful, or it's easier hearing something from someone you know, or someone who you speak the same languages in. So once you get this information from a source that sounds and feels homely, it will be very, very easy for you to make the right decision. So a community radio station for us would definitely do great wonders and create the platform that my community needs to move forward as one, to make better decisions, informed decisions for that matter, and to make sure that information becomes a public good to everyone else.
Nyasha Mandimutsira, who hails from Zimbabwe and took the overall prize in the Fest Media radio jingle competition, added that community radios promote inclusion, particularly for those residents living in remote communities.
In my country, there's a place called Benga. There are no community radios there. And there are many, might be many NGOs that might just want to come in and say, you know what, we want this, we want that. But to reach the whole community. Gone are the days for face-to-face and informal communication. Now there's radio. So if you put radios in places like that, it gets, and use the language that is spoken in that community, there's a higher chance that, your program or whatever it is you want to do in that community to be successful, because they have access to it and they're being included. They feel that they're really they're part of the nation. Their problems are important. So having community radios in each and every part of the country is very important, because it's a matter of inclusion, including everyone.
Ange Joel Agbla, who hails from Cotonou, Benin, says that freedom of the press is the center of development.
Et on ne peut pas parler de la presse et mettre de côté la radio.
And we can't talk about press or media without talking about the radio station.
Donc je crois que la liberté de la presse c'est au centre du développement.
So I can understand that the freedom of press is the center of development.
Et au Bénin actuellement,
and in Benin right now,
je crois que ça va mieux.
It's really moving. The freedom of press.
Tout le monde est libre d'exprimer, d'observer, de critiquer.
So everybody really, they are free now to observe, to critique, and they are free really to do the press media.
With its office based in Windhoek, First Media Africa promotes media freedom, the right to information and independent media, and the diversity of media content in support of good governance, democratization, and socio-economic development.
The Search, Namibia's very own competition in search of local talent, has found Afrikaans rapper Rodda, who won the first season by releasing deadly flows and bars that murdered beats, which left the judges starstruck. In an exclusive interview with Today on One, the rapper, who hails from the southern town Keetmanshoop, said he was inspired by his brother's musical group from a young age. Leston Voller has more.
Wat blaf die manne praat meer as wat hulle rap vandag. Die dinge raak oninteressant vandag. As sy 'n painful reply me met een ding vandag. En hy is rap size. Nou van ek voel het ek roel het die. Sy hoor het in my flow, ek doen het hard maar fluently. Die wettige stout gat, hy kom nou met quality.
The Search winner Rodda said that the show has exposed him to work outside his comfort zone and encourages artists from across the nation to take part in season 2.
Improvise, adapt, overcome. Verstaan je? You learn to work with things you are not used to. Like, we had a live band. Ek was nie gewoond aan die live band. Daar by die huis, ons doen net backtracks, ons het vocalists wat sing en al wat die dinge. So, as het by die chorus gekom het, ons is like gewoond om, ons gee af, ons staan die posisie af, een ander man om dit doen, ons is net op die verses waar ons rap. Maar hier so het jy kom geleer, pa, you must work with what you have, verstaan je? Jy moet push met wat jy het, en jy moet net die ding doen, verstaan jy? Daar by die huis, daar is baie warme goede wat ons daar doen, verstaan jy? Kijk, maar is net like, ons het nog nie, of die mens het nog nie baie van ons geken nie, verstaan jy? Van ons is nog net daar by die huis gewees, net in Keetmanshoop die ding gedoen, en verstaan jy? Maar die sits het baie deure oopgemaak, so die mense sal nou beginne sien wat ons doen, what we are capable of, en verstaan jy, wat ons sal produce, verstaan jy? Maar, soos ek sê is, if you make it at home, you can make it anywhere, verstaan jy?
Rodda added that it was his mother that informed him about the search and he didn't waste any time applying for the auditions.
I was at home. Yeah, I was listening to music, what, and I think it was my mother. They just sent me the search, the poster that they did. Then I was like, okay, fine. This could be a starting point for me. Verstaan jy, van the search, they promote.
Rodda plans to open a studio with his winnings to continue developing his art and also assist upcoming artists.
It means a lot because basically you can start up your own studio. That is very important for artists, verstaan jy? Daar moet warme goed as 'n lê by die huis, verstaan jy? There's things you can do at home. Like now, when you don't have a studio, then you have to go to somewhere, or you don't have your relaxed time when you, verstaan jy? Yeah. So if you have your own studio, it's easier, it's better. When you have 100K, you can plan, you can think of the plans forward, verstaan jy? It doesn't stop there. Yeah, it's basically it.
My name is Ephraim. I say no to gender-based violence. Do you?
"137 entrepreneurs and SMEs from all regions in Namibia recently graduated from the Olafika SME Development and Mentorship Program. This group of graduates were the intake of 2020 when the program migrated to an online platform due to the outbreak of COVID-19. Olafika is a training and mentorship program designed to train, equip, and mentor entrepreneurs, SMEs, and startups from all 14 regions in Namibia in critical skills of managing their enterprises and themselves for success. Over a 10-month period, they are trained through a well-developed, relevant, and critical curriculum focusing on, amongst others, understanding entrepreneurship and developing an entrepreneurial mindset, getting started in business, managing your finances, and personal development. Following the successful 2020 cohort, the program will now commence with the recruitment of the 2021 cohort. The 2021 approach will be focusing on addressing urgent issues faced by small businesses, particularly as a result of COVID-19, through a back-to-basics approach integrating digital technology and block classes for direct contact. Olafika is open to SMEs operating across Namibia in all sectors across the economy, including retail, hospitality, media, audio-visual, manufacturing, services, construction, agriculture, and many more. Olafika encourages SMEs to sign up through their website or social media platforms and avail this opportunity to seek sound advice and to help navigate their immediate business challenges. As the demand is expected to be very high, places will be made available to eligible businesses on a first-come, first-served basis.
Stay snug as a hug in plush baby grows for $59.99. Take 2 and save 20. Get plush hoodies for babies $59.99. And for kids only $69.99. Why pay more? Get loads more in store this winter. Life's better with Pep.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and economic indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm your host, Joseph Shifeni. Cheetah Cement employees staged a peaceful demonstration recently at which they called on management to take immediate action against Chinese nationals that are threatening fellow employees with no repercussions from the company. The workers from the Whale Rock cement plant near Oshiwarongo marched with posters to hand over a petition to management, speaking out against the maltreatment at the hands of foreign nationals, and spoke of incidents of assault with no disciplinary action.
Who is carrying a weapon during work hours is the same man who was previously charged for assaulting and battering an employee at work. So we would like a response, and that is the biggest of our concerns, because there is employees here who cannot even face this man because he's their director. And they are concerned. It's a different issue when you don't care about the people's clothes.
But when it's the safety of the
employees.
The life.
They stipulated in the document that they gave you that they gave this man a warning, and he was given a warning by the police. But what does the warning do? This man is still carrying his gun. And if he has a history of violence, what makes us sure that he's not going to pull out that gun and shoot someone else?
Money for him to stop everything. The bribe, it's the general manager. Absolutely unfounded. Facilitated the bribe. He put it, you have it on record in the meeting, he mentioned it on record. He didn't mention the amount, but he made it on record. We have it on record, he said it absolutely unfounded. He said it in the meeting. Okay, gentlemen, this is getting out of hand.
He's saying this man was not assaulted, Mr. Zane.
Okay. So I can't, come. He says that I know the law. In terms of the law, I cannot dismiss someone without a legitimate yes. Without witnesses, I cannot hold him.
Other issues that the workers also raised in the petition that was handed to management was the lack of protective clothing 3 years after the company commenced operations and the union's failure to represent them.
We are the members of the mine workers union, but the union is not helping us here at our branch. Our northern branch is very weak. We need all these issues. The union was even supposed to be present here to help us with this demonstration, but they are not here. There have been negotiations for almost a year and 6 months since last year. We joined that union but they didn't help us with anything. We are being assaulted at work. We have our members that were fired and all, but they didn't act on us. Please, we want the head office to come to us and help us here at Chita Cement.
The workers also demand that the human resources manager be dismissed for unfair labor practices. They also stated that the manager is incompetent and has increased the disputes between the employer and employees. That is all we have for you. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business on One.
As a Namibian musician, it is a joy to have a museum of Namibian music depicting different genres of music produced in Namibia. Music has a strong bond that it can create, and I believe that the museum will make us bond. This museum is also significant as it can safeguard our music heritage for future generations to come.
I would like also Namibians not only to visit the museum, but also to help us to plan, to sponsor, and create new displays and events at the museum in the future. Many of us have old photographs or perhaps even an old instrument.
Because level's been hot the whole year. I'm a boss like Sydney, a boss like Ranga, a boss like TD. And I go to work on the beat, so boy, you can check my CV or check my rap. Museums is all on my back, and if you don't know, you gon' act. I'm top 5 and I drop fire, no rumors here, it's all fact. Say okay, 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 okay. Let me hear you at home say okay, 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 okay. Everybody say.
Now a look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. Mayor of the city of Windhoek visited the Sam Nujoma Stadium recently after FIFA labeled the stadium unfit for hosting international matches. During a tour of the stadium, the mayor said that he wants to assign police officers to be part of the security, replace the turf, and hinted that they have sent a proposal to the Spanish football team Real Madrid through the Spanish embassy to assist with the building of a new stadium to be named after French legend Zinedine Zidane. Ihemba says the name should remain Sam Nujoma Stadium. Michael wants to know why the stadium is not named after a local player. Nado wants to know whether foreign streets are named after Namibians. Sheena says the people are the ones damaging the stadium. Sanup agrees that it is a good idea but asks what Zidane did for Namibians. While Roger says change is good but disagrees with the idea of having the stadium renamed after Zidane. That's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on 1.
At Spar, we've checked every price, counted every coin, and cut every cost to bring you Spar Super Saver Week. Get even more for your money, like 250-gram Nescafe Root Coffee for just $29.99 and Spar 1-ply mini toilet rolls, 9s, buy 2 for only $38. It's Super Saver Week at Spar. 3 to 9 May only. Don't miss out.
We now cross over to our sports desk with Chairo Musiandaka.
Welcome to Sports on 1. I'm Chairo Musiandaka. The Namibian Basketball Federation NBF recently held a 2-day basketball tournament at the DHPS school in Windhoek. The NBF hosted Zimbabwe as South Africa and Botswana could not make it to the tournament. More on this story from Castro Olumbu.
Part of its 5-year plan, the Namibian Basketball Federation successfully hosted an international friendly basketball tournament where Zimbabwe and Namibia took on each other in 3 different age groups. Despite 2 of the invited countries not making it to the tournament, Titus Mohafa, the Secretary General at the Federation, described the tournament as success, adding that the tournament was also used to prepare the national under-18 teams for Region 5 Games qualifiers later this year.
The Namibian Basketball Federation, in line with our 5-year development, we are under the pillar of national teams, have decided to host an international basketball friendly tournament to actually prepare our under-18s for the Lesotho Region 5 FIBA qualifiers that will be happening in December. So this tournament we invited countries like South Africa, Botswana. We only had Zimbabwe present. As you know, sports in the country is facing a lot of challenges in terms of getting funding, but we managed to pull it off despite all the challenges we faced, especially when it came to the human resources. We had the Namibian Basketball Federation community also coming together just to see what we can do to make sure that this tournament is a success. Vivo Energy also helped out a lot, who also sponsored the federation in the past 3 weeks. So we are really happy that we managed to pull it off.
Speaking to Today on 1 Sports Desk, Zimbabwe team manager Nira Kwela was grateful for being invited to the tournament, stating that with the tournament, more exposure will be given to her players, and despite the COVID-19 pandemic, she is satisfied with her players' performances.
We're here with the under-18s girls and boys and the under-23s girls and boys. And the tournament has been quite a challenge at first because we had to travel a long way from Zimbabwe, but it's a good experience for the players. They're getting exposure since basketball, or since sports in general has been locked down due to Corona. So now this is a great exposure for them to get back on track and get back on playing well basketball.
Despite driving to Namibia by bus for the tournament, players from Team Zimbabwe were delighted to be back on the court as they shared their thoughts on the tournament.
The experience here has been amazing. We may have come here tired and it hasn't been the best journey, but when we got here we felt that we were welcomed here, and it has been amazing. Playing with strong teams was also something that was challenging, but also it helped us grow and realize something that is beyond Zimbabwe, and the place is amazing. We were given so much amazing treatment and the games were just fantastic. I feel like it's been amazing. I can see a lot of my weaknesses because of this time that we've spent off the court, but now that I'm back, at least I can get back to it and fix a couple of things. But it's amazing. It's good to be off the bed and on the courts.
We are such grateful for the invitation to Namibia, and it's such a great pleasure. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Namibia won 8 out of 8 games at the international friendly tournament.
That's all we have for you today. Join us on our social media pages for more sporting stories. Back to you, Isai.
Thanks for that update, Charo. Now we have a look at the weather forecast. The interior will be sunny and hot in the Zambezi region and the southwest. Elsewhere, partly cloudy and mild to warm, but hot in the north with a few to isolated thunder showers in the central northern regions and the southeast. The Kunene, Irongo, Otjozondjupa, Khomas, Hardap and the Omaheke regions in places. A fresh to strong westerly wind in the south and central regions. The coast will be partly cloudy and mild to hot, and wind will be moderate to fresh northwesterly to southwesterly. That is all we have for you this evening. Join us again tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. and follow us on our social media platforms. From me, Isai Sipunga, and the rest of the Today on One team, good night.
Black sunrise, always gonna be a surprise, 'cause we don't know the way it's going to go, 'cause we can see the way it's going to be, 'cause we can see.
We're talking about COVID. Babaji, tell us about the day you found out you had COVID.
The day I found out I have COVID. It was a difficult day. I didn't understand how I got COVID. Because I was always covered, I was always with my hand sanitizer. It came with my wife. And that whole day, I was thinking, what's gonna happen to me? I'm gonna survive. My kids, I was losing my tasting, smelling. There were some days I will test my taste buds and put like 4 or 5 chilies in my coffee. No ways. I didn't taste it.
So did you also lose your appetite in the process?
It was very funny. In the first week, no, I was chowing. Like I will wake up like midnight and make for me something. But after the first week, then the appetite was gone. When you go to bed, your body is also automatically switching off. And that's a dangerous time for COVID. It's like glass pinching you, cutting you inside your lungs. Then the heart was pumping like like rabbit pumps. You are losing a lot of fluids at night.
Is that through fever or what?
Yeah, it's through fever.
So have you experienced any side effects from having contracted COVID-19?
No, not yet. Maybe still coming, but not yet.
And your wife?
She was complaining about light head. It's an annoying headache. It's light, but it's annoying.
So basically, you didn't take any prescribed medicine from the doctor to recover from COVID?
No, I didn't. The only thing I was using is Desperin for my blood not to clot. Because for some people, when your lungs are really, really infected, your blood will start to clot from the lungs, close all the airways. That's where we are passing. I'm smoking cigarette, and when you were a smoker and COVID in your lungs now.
So then after you found out, you both found out you had COVID, what did you guys do to protect the kids?
The kids move out from the house. The Buddhists will come, then we'll collect everything for them and just put for them outside. When they came, just grab the food and go.
So what was the biggest battle for you? Was it mental or physical?
Mentally. Mentally was the biggest battle. I'm actually an international movie maker, and my career was cut off. I couldn't put bread on the table. There were some days we have one meal for the day, then went to bed. And that was hitting me in my mind. What if Blessing get corona now? Where am I gonna go? Who can I help? There were also some people depend on us in the rural areas. We couldn't help them. My future was black, dark, dark, dark. I couldn't even see that small light at the end of the tunnel. One day, my daughter decided, now, I want to see my father today. And I just told her, yeah, she can come. The first words was, Daddy, I was praying for you yesterday night. Don't worry, Corona will go back soon. And I was asking, from where? From Namibia? She said, no, not from Namibia, from you. And you are not looking good. And she was actually heartbroken. Until today, she hates Corona. From there, then I was like, oh, okay. If the smallest one is saying this, why am I not picking me up self and do the right thing and get rid of this thing? That's where I started to run, to practice, coming to my quiet place. And actually, the main thing that broke my heart during that time was there was no one. The time of COVID, there was no one.
So can you tell us where we are right now?
We are at my silent place. I call this place my silent place. I will come here when the COVID is hitting me like 120%. Looking at the ocean, then you will hear voices like, no, you don't belong here. Today, you don't belong here. Get up and go home. Some days, they will nurse you like, no, you will survive. Your future is a bright future. You must not give up now. Think about your kids. Think about the people around you. Even the wind will do that. Actually, you must meditate. The thing of COVID is, looks like COVID is afraid of the warmness and is friends with the coldness. So the whole time you are baking in the sun, it helps a lot.
So is that what you did?
Yeah, I did. I will do that twice a day. This was supposed to be a golden year for me, a very, very good golden year for me, but then COVID decided, no, this is not going to be your golden year. Everything was cancelled. We, the filmmakers, this year, from the international shoots lost lot of money.
You've lost 3 family members. Is it all due to COVID?
No, not all due to COVID. First one, my sister. She was very close to me. She contracted COVID April, and she was in ICU for 3 months. The COVID damaged her lungs, and at the stage her lungs collapsed and she couldn't breathe without the machines. Her kidneys failed, her liver has failed. COVID is real. First of all, COVID is real. It's not a joke. Most of the people, they fall away from COVID regulations. Still early to fall away from COVID regulations. We must still go in line with those COVID regulations.
And how long did you say it took you to recover?
3 weeks, 21 days.
What must somebody do to change your mind from that negative perspective to that positive?
COVID, no job, it's very dangerous. There was one day I just decided I'm gonna take a rope, go to the jetty, sit around there, and after all I will hang there by the jetty. The time I arrived here there was no wind, out of nowhere the ocean was like angry, and it started to get cold, and I was like, but it was just nice weather. Then I sat down. Then the universe will talk with you, the wind, the sun, the ocean. That's the main thing of COVID. If you don't save yourself, no one will save you. And we must always appreciate what we have around us. That's the main thing in COVID. If you don't appreciate what you have around you, no, you will lose your head.
Smile, smile, smile. When you walk with me, I just want you to smile, smile.
My industry and what I've done with my hands in Namibia, it's going all over the world, and here you are, Babaji, you want to quit? Now, I'm excited for 2021. It's not gonna be the same like 2020 now. I'm making back in the groove.
Give me food, clothes, water, and shelter. Nothing else, no matter. You're my moonlight in my oven. Let all my sins be forgiven. Happiness rain on me. Never let the children cry. Namibia, smile.
We can stop coronavirus. Let's follow the rules. We will survive. We will survive. Let's not give up. Let us stand up. We will survive. We will survive. All together. We will survive. We will survive. Let not give up. Let all stand up. We will survive. We will survive. All together. We are living in strange time where people don't shake hands anymore. Where people are afraid to get close to each other. Still sing as one another. Oh dear Lord, what do I hear? What do you hear? Corona has confused our life. Africa, we will survive. Europa, all together. Asia, we will survive. Australia, we will survive. We will survive. Let not give up. Let all stand up. We will survive. We will survive. All together. There is a killer we never seen before, and we can stop coronavirus. Follow the rules, 1 meter from each other. Follow the rules, stay home to stay safe. Just follow the rules, wash your hands many times everywhere. Follow the rules. We will survive, we will survive, we will survive, we will survive. Let not give up, let all stand up, all stand up. We will survive, we will survive, we will survive. All together, we will survive, we will survive, we will survive. Let not give up, let all stand up. We will survive, we will survive, we will survive, we will survive. All together. Shout out to the brave medical staff fighting this pandemic.
See, this is my life, and I've got the power to choose. To choose between wrong and between right. And what I choose is my decision. Come on now, tough. Can you see I'm a chooser? I just choose what is right, I don't hurt nobody. I don't wanna be a loser. Just take my hand and let's change what we see now. Can you see I'm a chooser? I just choose what is right, I don't hurt nobody. I'm a winner, not a loser. It's a choice, my friend, don't be afraid now. Yeah, this is for all of my sisters. You should never live a life full of mistrust. You are strong, you are beautiful. To treat you any less unconstitutional. Hey, oh, baby, it's on now. Time will change, make the right from the wrong now. Shut it down till they all understand. We are the 77%. Cause from now on, enough is enough. Show respect, break the silence. If we unite, we are tougher than tough. Let's stop all the gender-based violence, ma. Can you see I'm a chooser? I just choose what is right, I don't hurt nobody. I don't wanna be a loser. Just take my hand and let's change what we see now. Can you see I'm a chooser? I just choose what is right, I don't hurt nobody. I'm a winner, not a loser. It's a choice, my friend, don't be afraid now. Yeah, now let me ask you, my brother. Would you ever disrespect your mother? Yeah, you say you're the king, but do you know what it means? Cause real kings always take care of their queens. Yeah. Oh, where are the real men now? We don't rape, we relate and protect now. Shut it down till they all understand. We are the 77%. Cause from now on, enough is enough. Show respect, break the silence, man. If we unite, we are tougher than tough. Let's stop all the gender-based violence, man. Can you see I'm a chooser? I just choose what is right, I don't hurt nobody. I don't wanna be a loser. Just take my hand and let's change what we see now. Can you see I'm a chooser? I just choose what is right, I don't hurt nobody. I'm a winner, not a loser. It's a choice, my friend, don't be afraid now.
It's clearly a problem. We clearly have a situation. Women, girls are going missing. Their body parts are being taken. This should be a state of emergency. This should be the kind of day that you actually shut the country down, because the entire country feels this moment, and we don't want to go through this again. No woman deserves to go through this. We all deserve equality and a safe life.
See, I'm a chooser. I just choose what is right, I don't hurt nobody. I don't wanna be a loser. Just take my hand and let's change what we see now. Can you see I'm a chooser? I just choose what is right, I don't hurt nobody. I'm a winner, not a loser. It's a choice, my friend, don't be afraid now. future. I say I do. My love for you.
And we were like so far. That is us to Santa Mama. And you beautiful, look like an angel. I like it when you call me Papa. Baby, I don't see any reason to lose you. Cause God told me in my dream I should choose you. Come as I'm kidding, come and have him kenny loo. In good and bad times, I'm totally cool. I'm a
for you and pray for you, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Yeah, but I do, as I say I do, to you. We are very good, we are very good, we are very good. I'm a singing.
Take you, Captain, to be my lawfully wedded husband. Before these witnesses, I pledge to share my life openly with you, to speak the truth to you in love. I promise to show up every day and try. I will love you till death do us part.
I, Captain, take your Adora to be my lawfully wedded wife. Before these witnesses, I pledge to share my life openly with you, to speak the truth to you in love. I promise to show up every day and try. I will love you till death do us part.
African queen, African lady, African queen, African lady. She's not a trophy, yeah. She's not a thing I show. She's the woman that I love. She doesn't have to be far for me to be around her. I wanna meet a reason. You wake up every morning. I wanna meet a reason. You wake up every morning. I wanna meet a reason. You wake up every morning. I wanna meet a reason. You wake up every morning. I will die for you, African lady. I will love you forever, African lady. You will be my darling, African lady. I'm lost without you, African lady. I wanna be the reason you wake up every morning. I wanna be the reason you wake up every morning. I wanna be the reason you wake up every morning. I wanna be the reason you wake up every morning. My heart ding-a-ling-a-ling, thinking about you. I will go for some miles, searching for you. It is written in your heart, African beauty. You can hide in the dark, spirit will lead.